Hello everyone, Stephen back here from rConfig. Just doing a quick teaser video on one of the new features and a couple of updates that we're currently developing for rConfig version 7.2, which is due out towards the end of June. Today being the 24th of June 24, it's going to come out in the next week or so. So I wanted to get some of you up to date with some of the changes that we're making to the compliance engine, specifically policy definitions. And as a consequence, we've made some updates to the EOC definitions as well for some of you that are used to using those. The whole purpose of these updates is to make the experience of creating policy definitions easier and more consumable so that we can use more of the policy compliance engine features, but also start sharing our policies and best practices with each other. So what I have open today is, and as I said, it's going to be a really quick video. So I have open our V7 professional development instance, and I have our demo server as well, which is publicly available online, because there's a code difference between these two servers. So I want to demonstrate the effective difference in the new implementation. So if I run over to compliance and policy definitions here, those of you that will have used this before will be used to seeing when we create a new policy definition, the default and the required definition code is JSON. And if you look at it, if I can zoom this up for a moment, it's quite verbose. There's a lot in here. And I think, well, I've always said this, the engine itself, based on the methods and how it matches various strings and arrays of strings and different things, actually really, really good. I've always been really happy with the engine, but I've never been fully happy with this implementation. And I think we were being a little bit clever at the start, trying to, one, do it in JSON, and two, add in properties and values that frankly we never got to use, right? So what we've decided is that we're going to pare it all right back to a very simple version, something that for us network engineers, it's really easy to consume and really easy to use. So let's see what it looks like. If I go over to my development server here, and if I go to compliance definitions, so the first thing we're going to see is a quick peek button here. Okay, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But if I click new policy definition, well, now that's something. I don't know about you, but visually that looks okay. We still have bugs. Hey, we're still in development. Okay, something to take back here. But let me just jump back to the main view. To me, this jumps off the page. It's very simple. A description, policy method, which is identical to the previous policy methods, just formatted a touch differently, and then the string. Now what this means is that you can define policy definitions to match strings in your configurations. For us network engineers and architects and ops people, what is essentially an intuitive way of laying out your files, right? So you can see here we're doing a test on SNMP server, community strings, no CDP run, no IPHTTP server, must not have this, must have that, etc., right? And it just becomes much easier and much more simple to consume, okay? So most of the rest of the engine has not changed, just really the definition and how we define it. One of the really, really cool things, because I've always said this is, and I'm turning this into a really long video now, but just bear with me for a moment, is that because we're using actual VS Code editor here, we can do some cool things. So check this out. As I define a new policy method, let's say description, whatever, right? Now check this. Second I type hash, our existing, no, ignore the duplicates, right? But all of the existing list of policy definitions start to appear. So you can choose without having to refer to the documentation, which still exists, which one you want, and then it auto completes it. So that's kind of cool. And then you input your, let's just say no HTTP, no IP, HTTP server, right? Must match single string. So if this is in place, I have a successful match. So again, just really wanted to give you a visual and a sense of the kind of cool changes that are coming in 7.2 really quick, because the policy engine supports what was previously known, and this is a new announcement, as EOC, or end of configs. Two things. One, we've renamed EOC to CIC. Wow, another acronym. Um, config integrity check, right? Because end of config, it was confusion around, well, did it have to be the last line or the second last line? Look, I've always said the EOC slash now to be CIC is whatever you need it to be. So if I create a new EOC definition, it could be line VTY04 in a Cisco config. It could be anything you need it to be, including an array of strings using all of the available policy definitions. We ideally like to stick to one, because it's not a full compliance search, but again, you have the availability of, no, there's another bug I think coming up. We're seeing multiples here. Don't worry, we'll fix this before it's released. And you can have an array of matches as well, just to validate on the inbound when you're downloading that config that it is as you expect it to be, and once it's a match, it will get a green tick in the config's output. All right, so that's pretty cool stuff. Again, just to recap, instead of this verbose JSON, the same with the old EOC definitions, we had this kind of, EOC wasn't too bad, you know, it was a single kind of definition. We now have this much simpler, much easier to consume, much easier, and we will have a sharing function as well on a public GitHub repo that you can share these and download these templates from others. I think it's pretty exciting. So sorry. Look, I wanted to create a short video, but you know, it's a good feature to just cover and get you prepped for 7.2 when it comes out. We're hoping for a significant amount of uptake in policy and policy definitions once this feature is released because it's more consumable. So I'm looking forward to it. The final thing to say, if you do have work done on policy definitions in the old format, we have scripts already created that will convert these, including display names and descriptions, etc., into the new format. That will be documented to run those scripts as part of the update process. Let me just get back here. So don't be concerned if you already have work done. Finally, I just wanted to show you a real thing. The thing I mentioned first, just getting back here, clicking like crazy, the quick peek. So we can now quick peek our configs. That applies here. It applies in the CIC definitions, and it also, check this out, I do a quick download, I have configs. We've added quick peek also to configs. Now how cool is that? All right, so we get better and better and add cooler and cooler stuff all of the time. So I can't wait to release 7.2. It's going to be a game changer. Thanks folks, all the best.